This
You
conference
just
will now
can't
be recorded.
escape pediatrician, you know. Matlab, if you're a female, I mean, in lifetime you will definitely visit a gynecologist, and if you're a man, you are never going to go to gynecologist. I mean, for your own problems. But just if you're a man or a woman, you just can't the clutches of pediatrician. So pediatrics is a very very fine line, and I'll urge everyone to pay good attention to pediatrics. So now we are beginning with the topic of growth and development, and then probably why I chose this topic as a opening statement, rather the basic lecture for this is growth and development is the thing where, I mean, that is the basic thing, that is the basic model if you understand in pediatrics. So very there is a great spectrum of diseases which can be detected at this stage, and if these diseases, or rather if those diseases can be detected at this stage, so there is a great chance of treating them well in the future of a child. So let's begin with the topic. So this is how the this is a just a present representational picture of growth and development. So I don't know how many of you have given a thought on this, but a child's growth and development is very closely stimulated to human evolution. So if you want to see the human evolution, you don't have to go back to lakhs of and thousands of billions and millions of years. Just see a child evolving in front of your eyes, and that is the human evolution. So we all know that human life or the life started in water. So we always start. I mean, humans' journey starts with the womb, and we flow in the water. So from water itself, and then we come out, we enter the world, and then we learn all the skills which have been perfected throughout this millions of years of journey. So child's growth and development really closely stimulate human evolution, and child is nothing different from adult. The only thing is child's ability to grow and develop. It distinguishes it from an adult. So this is the importance of the slide. And then this is the definition of growth. So definition is very simple. Growth is the process of physical maturation resulting in an increase in the size of body and various organs. It occurs by multiplication of cells and increase in the intracellular substance. It is a quantitative change of the body. So please remember, many of the times we use growth and development as an interchangeable words, but then these two terms are very different. So growth is different and development is different. So when you're talking about growth, it is more on the quantitative side, and when you're talking about the development, it is more towards the qualitative side of the organ. So this is what is growth, and this is a little difference between the growth and the development. So, like I said, the growth, it is a term used in purely physical sense. It generally refers to increase in size and length, whereas development implies overall change in shape, form, or structure, resulting in improved working or functioning. Growth again is a changes in the quantitative aspects come into the domain of growth. Okay, and where in development, the changes in the quality or the character rather than the quantitative aspects comes in this domain. So so this is the basic difference. That's okay. That's okay. So anything. So this is the little difference between the growth and the development. So when we say the human is developing, so development is little different between the growth. So if you want to take an example, I mean, we have a great population growth in India, but in development we are far lagging behind. So this is a difference between the growth and the development. So which are the factors which affect growth and development? So there are certain factors which affect the growth and development. I'll just list few, and then we'll look at each problem in detail. So this is parental traits, parental characteristics, race, sex, sex of the baby, genetic disorders, and biorhythm. So these are the major factors affecting growth and development. So now we'll see in detail. So the first comes with the parental traits. Now, what is parental trait? So it's very simple. And in left side picture, you can see the boy is measuring his height. So generally, taller parents will have taller children, and the smaller parents will have a smaller children. So that is generally the parental trait our children carry along. And in that, the size of the head is closely related to the parents' head than the size and shape of hands and feet. So, if the parent has a bigger size of a head, then it is very likely that the children will also have a bigger, rather, the size of the head is probably bigger than the normal. So this is the parental traits. Then the parental characteristics. The parental characteristics is a very important and very very funny character trait. So parental characteristics is generally the parents have high IQ, then they inherit it to in the offspring, and the offsprings, and that the children also have a high amount of IQ. So it is not only because they have some superior amount of IQ and it gets translated every time. Generally, what happens if the parents are more inclined towards education, or they themselves are highly educated, the environment in the home is very friendly for the educational background. So they encourage reading, they encourage experimenting, they always talk about the future developments and the science. So that environment influences the child's mind, and that is the reason probably the children will have a higher IQ. So that is the parental characteristics. So you can always develop this. So it is not every time necessary. So you can develop the environment, and then that developed environment will definitely help in having a higher IQ of the children. Now this is a race. It is not a potato race. So this is a race. So race, I mean, the various different kinds of suppose, and I mean, you just can't compare a child of Western countries and child of India. So their birth weight will be definitely on the higher side than the Indian subcontinent. So that there is a difference between the race, and then this is how we find different developmental milestones and different developmental rather growth milestones among the racial differences. Now the sex, boys will be always on the heavier side. They're initially, at least, they will be on the heavier side. They will be always on the taller side. So the gender will always play a role on deciding the growth and development. Genetic disorders, yes, definitely. So unfortunately, if the child is having some genetic disorders like Down syndrome or then the growth and development of the child will be definitely compromised. Biorhythm. So biorhythm is it's like, I mean, the menarche and the menopause of a girl will always resemble to what her mother had achieved at probably the same age she will achieve the menopause, or probably the same age she will achieve the menarche. So this is known as the biorhythm. So now we are coming to the prenatal period. So prenatal period is extremely important in for the growth and development of a child. So in that there are certain what do you say? There are certain parameters. The first is the maternal nutrition, then the uterine problems, administration of drugs, and maternal infections. So okay. We'll just discuss about the previous slide. The poor maternal nutrition, definitely it may cause IUGR, that is intrauterine growth retardation. So coming back to Ayurveda, so we have something called a Janma Bala Pravrutta Vyadhi. So in Janma Bala Pravrutta Vyadhi, Acharyas have described two types of Vyadhis. One is a Rasakruta, and the second is a Dauruda Pacharakruta. So Rasa is very important dhatu of our body, as you know. I mean, this is the first dhatu which gets formed inside our body. And if there is something or some abnormalities or some vitiation in the formation of rasa dhatu, it gets reflected on every other dhatus which are going to form afterwards. So rasa is very important. So rasakruta vyadhi, it is like, I mean, when we are talking about malnutrition, or poor maternal nutrition, it is not every time the mother is eating less. It could be Vikruta Ahar or the Alpa Ahar. So if mother is not taking diet at proper time also, even that comes under the poor maternal nutrition. So the poor maternal nutrition, rather the Vikruta or Alpa Ahar, will give rise to Vikruta Rasadhatu. Rasadhatu has got a primary function, is the Rasadhatu has a primary function of Prinana. So Prinana is the Manasa Hetu. So if Prinana is not done properly, there is a great chance that the child will suffer from some amount of mental disorders, other Manasa Vyadhi. So today there is a lot of rise in the cases of ADHD, autism. So this could be one of the reasons, because of if the mother is having poor maternal nutrition, it will definitely reflect on the child's mental development. Then there is the abnormal plantation of ovum. So abnormal plantation of ovum and oligohydramnios can cause clubfoot, bow legs. It also may cause intrauterine dwarfism. Then drugs like thalidomide can cause phocomelia. So phocomelia is a malformation of arms and legs. Like drugs may give rise to goiter or cretinism. Cretinism is a learning anti-cancer may lead to palate, growth retardation, or infections like toxoplasmosis, syphilis, rubella that may cause fetal damage. So all these points are definitely important when we are looking for the growth and development of a child. Now coming to the present slide, that is postnatal period. Of course, postnatal period. So after once the child is delivered, then again the nutrition, trauma, infections, infestations, emotional problems, cultural influences. These problems and rather they will also influence the child's development. So this in the postnatal period, the malnutrition slows down development, but it mainly affects height. Socioeconomic status is it very significantly affects the growth rate. Those from the lower strata will remain small in stature. It is also because uh, in that lower strata definitely people do not get very high good amount of food. The food is food which is rich in proteins and energy. So there is a great chance that these kids will suffer from protein energy malnutrition, and that in turn is going to hamper their growth and development. Emotional factors, yes. Children from broken homes, orphanages, they do not grow well. So emotionally, if the child is very happy, if the child is very secured, if the child is very safe, the child will definitely thrive well in his life in all aspects. It's not only the growth and development, in every aspect. And again, if the child is not getting good amount of chances to grow, or rather the good amount of uh, environmentally, if the child is depressed, if the environmentally child is at the backward side, so that does have a very ill effect on the growth and development. Cultural influence, yes. We as an Indian, we live with a lot of cultures, we live a lot of cultural influences. So here I would like to share something from Ayurveda. So it was when I read about it when I was doing my PG. Even I was very shocked to I was very shocked. In Kashyap Samhita, when Kashyap Samhita describes the Ahara Prashana Vidhi, rather when he describes the Sanskar, in that Sanskar when he describes Anna Prashana Sanskar. So in that Anna Prashana Sanskar, he advises each and every child to have Mamsa Rasa as a first feed, apart from the breastfeed. So, so that is what I mean. I always believe that Ayurveda is it is not a I mean it doesn't demarcate anywhere where some veg or non-veg or something. But then we do have some cultural influences. So that cultural influence will definitely affect the child and a child's growth and development. Uh, Here, there are some laws of growth. It's very simple. The growth and development in child is a continuous and orderly process. Growth pattern of every individual is unique. Different organs in the body grow at different rates. So that comes in the latest. Just a minute. Yeah. Yeah. We are coming to the assessment of physical growth. Now, since we have understood, what are the laws of growth, how the growth and development is affected by some external and internal factors. Now, how are we going to assess whether the child is having a normal physical growth or not? So, weight is always going to be the first criteria, and it is always going to be the best criteria. Why it is going to the best criteria? Because weighing a child is far more simpler than assessing the child in some other formats. So weight is one of the basic and one of the best criteria, and it is definitely it's going to be a good indicator of health and nutrition status of child. So you all know that the normal normal birth weight in our India is 2.5 kgs to 3.5 kg, and above that is always a problem, and below that is going to be the LW. So that is going to be the low birth weight. So there is about 10% loss of weight in the first week of life, which regains by 10 days of life. So these 10 days of age are going to be difficult for the pediatrician because a mother is always gets panicky. मेरे बच्चे का वजन कम हो रहा है, probably I am not lactating that much, or probably he is not sucking that much, or probably the milk is not getting digested. And important for you guys to understand, and then let your mothers also to understand, I mean your patients also to understand that it is definitely going to be 10% weight loss in the first week of life, and it is going to get regained by 10 or 15 days of life. So then the weight gain is about 25 to 30 gram per day for first 3 months, and 400 gram per month till 1 year of age. So I mean, this is a very simple indicator. By this simple calculation, you can come to know whether the child is growing according to the age or not, or whether it is seriously lagging behind. I mean, suppose come on, I mean, 50 grams here and there is always good, but then if it is really very low on the scale, then you can always doubt something is going wrong. And yes, the infants will double the weight again, with their birth weight by 5 months, and triple by the 1 year, and the four times by the 2 years. So so this is generally an indicator. The second assessment criteria is going to be the chest circumference. The chest circumference or the thoracic diameters is an important parameter of assessment of growth and development and nutritional status. It is not only for the assessment of growth and nutrition. It will tell you, more things also. If the chest circumference is far more lesser than the head circumference, then there will be probably the child is having some malformations in the head. Something is really definitely something is very wrong. So the ratio is also very important. So at birth it is 2 to 3 centimeter less than the head circumference, and at 6 to 12 months of age, so both become equal. So suppose the child comes, and by suppose, I mean, the child is 8 months old or the 10 months old, and still the head circumference is far more bigger than the chest circumference, then you can definitely get some CT scan done of the brain or something. Something is you can always suspect that something is wrong. And yes, this is how the chest circumference will come into play. So this is again the third, and again that's very important parameter is the length. So length at birth is approximately 50 centimeters in India. At 1 year, it reaches approximately 75 centimeter. And there are some these are some formulations which we used to apply when I was attached to my PG institute. So it's a very simple formula, and it is very handy. So even if a child comes at the age of 12 years or 10 years, it is very simple to understand whether the child is growing well or not. Because at times when parents become very paranoid about child's height. So मैं उसको फुटबॉल में डालूं क्या, बास्केटबॉल में डालूं क्या, so बहुत छोटा है क्या, and then that they will always compare their child with some other child. So वो तो इतना लंबा हो गया, ये इतना ही रह गया. So you can, by this simple calculations, you can come to know whether the child is really lagging behind or the parents are really paranoid. Uh, so now we are coming to the second most important part, the development. So like I previously said, there is a difference between the growth and the development. So we are coming to the development part. So the characteristic features appearing at particular periods are termed as developmental milestones. So these characteristic features which appear in each and every child's life, but they has to come at a particular period. You just can't deny them. जो अभी नहीं 2 साल के बाद होगा, ऐसा नहीं होता. They have to come at a particular period. Then they're termed as the developmental milestones. So what are the essential features of these milestones? The adoption of vertical posture, prehension, thought process, and speech. So we generally don't pay attention to prehension. So adoption of vertical posture, so we can understand just because we are Homo sapiens, we adopt the vertical position posture. But then prehension is very important. Prehension that is catching something. Prehension that is able to the action of grasping or seizing is really very important. So that shows the importance of having thumb at a very right position. So in the evolutionary process, when we always give tremendous importance to our brain. We have a tremendous brain. Our brain has developed like anything. Yes, it is. That organ has developed, and that organ has helped us to go to skies. But then it is all again the very important and very neglected part is the thumb. Our thumb is so much very well positioned in our palm that we can do so many good things, so many fine things, some very fine motor things we can, rather actions we can do, just because our thumb is at a very appropriate position. So because of that, we achieve this great milestone, prehension. Thought process, yes, it is attributed to our super brain. And then speech. So these four are the very essential milestones of development. Any of these. So in the coming slides, we are going to learn about the fine motor and the motor, the social developmental milestones and everything. But please do remember, these four are the very essential features of milestones. If any of these are missing, then your case is definitely lagging behind it. तो बच्चे में कुछ ना कुछ तो definitely there is something grossly wrong with the development. So adoption of vertical posture, prehension, thought process, and speech. These four are essential milestones of development. Now these are the developmental principles. Yes, development is interrelated. It is interrelated. That means one organ is interrelated with the another organ's development and so on. Development is similar for all. Rates of development are individual. Development is ongoing. Development is sequential. Now, when it is mentioned development is ongoing, that does not mean that suppose social smile has to happen in the age of 2 months. So it is ongoing. तो चलो ongoing हो तो 4 महीने के बाद आएगा, 5 महीने के बाद आएगा, ऐसा नहीं है. Development is ongoing in a sense. Not all the developments will happen at one time. It's an ongoing process. It's like एक के बाद एक दूसरा आएगा. At a time सभी नहीं आएंगे. But then developmental milestones must be achieved at that particular age. Children typically develop new abilities in the same order, but not at the same time. That is true. Each child develops new abilities at a pace that is unique to that child. For the above reasons, it is very important to avoid comparing children. Now again, this is a very practical problem. यू नो मेरे पड़ोस वाले का बच्चा बात करना चालू कर दिया, अभी तक उसने बात नहीं किया. So that is the common complaint, you know. People come to you, just look at my child. Why is not talking? You know, why is not walking with? But then, yes, at that time you can always tell your patients, like, that the child will achieve that developmental milestone. But then if it is really stretching too much, if it is really taking too much of time, so along with the parent, you should also get worried. You should also get, kahin na kahin kuch na kuch to problem hai. That the bell should ring in your mind. But then, as a physician, we should always keep this in mind that it is going to happen, but then it should not go beyond the limit. So these are the motor developments. This is just a chart. You can get it anywhere. So these are the motor development. This is a gross motor development. So gross motor development, when you do the actions which are very visible, like the child lifts the head up, and chest up. So these are the gross motor development. So gross motor development will give you an idea how your motor nerves are working, how your muscles are coordinating between your motor nervous system. And if something is not happening, then definitely there is something wrong with the interaction with the motor nervous system and the muscles. So this topic is far more important. This is fine motor development. So fine motor refers to skills in hand-eye coordination. So any of the fine motor development, any of the fine motor, so we are going to come to the next slide also, which are those fine motor development. But then any of the fine motor developments, they always refer to skills in hand and eye coordination. Here, that is why I was mentioning that importance of thumb. Again, here, when we are talking about hand and eye coordination, uh, these two things are utterly important, utterly important. So these are the six basic actions which do take place when we are doing the fine motor development. So this is the first thing which happens. This is the hand eye contact coordination. Hand and eye contact coordination. So uh, so this is where the child, now in the slide also you can see the child is getting attracted to the red colored ball. So generally it is observed that children, or rather everyone, we get attracted to the red color very fast. Uh, it is probably we perceive that color some differently, or there are so many theories which surround this topic. But then it is found out that red color is the thing that is children are attracted to red color. So if you want to develop this hand eye contact coordination, you can suggest your patients to use red colored rattle, or red colored ball, or red colored toys, more often, so that the child develop this coordination and this developmental milestone very fast. Then this is the pincer grasp. So pincer grasp, again, the child will try to pick up the things. The child will try to pick up the things with the help of their fingers. So the pincer grasp reflects. Just a minute. So again, this is a form of prehension. It's a form of prehension where the child try to grasp the thing or seize the thing. Uh, so this happens from 9th month to 14th month of age. So Spencer reflex, and the Spencer reflex is very important. When the child start developing the child will start pinching everything. This is the hand skills. So hand skills are again very important. Uh, the turning of page will start from 13 months onwards around. Initially, the child will turn 2 to 3 pages at a time, and by the age of 24 months, the child will develop a skill enough to turn the page one page at a time. There will be spontaneous scribbling. So spontaneous scribbling is very essential for child's brain development. as a skill. The child is honing his skill. Child is taking his time to, to hand eye coordination, to that small muscles, everything the child is playing around. So it is very essential, do not stop your child from scribbling. Even if the child is making your house dirty, or it is वो पूरा interior का कपड़ा बजा रहा है, लेकिन फिर भी just allow your child to do it very freely, because that is a spontaneous scribbling. The child, so brain is initiating him to do that, and it is necessary for the child's brain to do that. So initially the scribbling will be in the circular fashion. Child will not use the same color again and again. Child will love to play different with different colors. So this is a very important developmental aspect of the child's hand skills. This is a personal social development. So in personal social development, the social smile will start developing by the age of 2 months. So by the age of 2 months, the child will smile with everyone. So even if the person is known, unknown, the child will give a very nice, beautiful social smile. The child starts recognizing his mother by the age of 3 months, and by the age of 7 to 8 months, child will develop anxiety on strangers, on seeing strangers. So this is very important. Again, people get annoyed with this thing. I mean, पहले तो अच्छा है, सबके पास जाता था, अभी नखरा कर रहा है, नाटक कर रहा है. So it is not the natak of the child, that it is the normal developmental milestone the child is achieving. So the child will show some amount of some degree of anxiety on strangers by the age of 7 to 8 months. So this is the language developmental milestones which child will achieve. So so these are the milestones which are generally achieved by the same time. But then definitely, like I said, if any of the milestone is taking too much of long time to achieve, then it is really some kind of worry. Uh, oh, okay. I missed this point. So hearing, probably uh, the child will start listening to the voice properly by the age of 1 month, and the child turns the head towards the sound. So before that, child doesn't understand where the origin of the sound. So the child will not turn its head towards the sound source. And by the age of 9 months, child will have some monosyllable like dada, mama, but it is not a true speech. It is just the sound coming from the vocal cords. Child understands by the age of 10 months. So understands, if you say where is daddy, where is mother, where is grandmother, so child probably understand, and child probably look at that particular person. Rather, child can point out to that person. So understanding generally happens by from the age of 10 months. True speech will appear by the year end. By 12 months of age. So the child will have their own jargon. They will form their own words, probably two words at a time. So you may term anything to anyone. Child will have their own terminologies. So they have their own jargon, and after that, slowly and steadily, child will start developing the skills which are needed to speak. They will start forming the sentences. S- Toilet training is again very important. uh, Unfortunately, it has become a style statement to wear you know pant diapers every time to the child. So it was developed as a necessity. It was developed as a, कभी बाहर जाने के लिए, कभी कभार लगाने का. But now it has become a part and parcel of child's growth and development का period. So it is very sad to see, because after a while these children develop, they don't develop that regularity in their toilet training, and they suffer from constipation. So this is there's a new term coined as a diaper constipation. So since these children don't get the proper training at the proper time, so they do not know when to defecate and when not to defecate. So this is a toilet training is very important. So early months, so by the age of 10 months, child can sit on toilet seat. So you should encourage your child to sit on the toilet seat. You can always tell your patients also कि नहीं यार तुम अभी चालू करो patient बच्चे को बिठाने के लिए. So by 7 months and 8 months you can always talk to your child, or you can get that toilet seat, but then you can actually use it by the age of 10 months onwards, and then child enjoys that process if you encourage it well. So now this is the importance of knowing growth and development assessment. So first is definitely knowing what to expect of a particular child at any given age. You just can't expect anything at any given age. So this is very important. You can understand if you know the developmental assessment, you can expect kabhi kya hona chahiye. Yes, gaining better understanding of the reasons behind illnesses, helping in formulating the plan of care, helping in parents education, which is utterly important, helping in parents education in order to achieve optimal growth and development at each stage. So parent if you want to educate the parents, you should also know कि developmental assessment में क्या हो रहा है, कब हो रहा है. And a very thank you for your patient listening. And again thank you Dr. Amit, and of course my dear friend, my birthday boy. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my little knowledge with you, everyone. And if you have some doubts, you can always contact me on my personal number. This is number is on my WhatsApp also, or you can send your queries and doubts to the platform, and then it can be forwarded to me again. So again, very thank you, and I'm ending my speech on development, growth and development. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amit.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Amit, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For such a
Dr.
wonderful.
Amit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Dr. Amit Jagtap, the session is open for question and answer. I will request all the delegates to post your question in the chat box if you are having any. So we will wait for a minute for question answer session, and thank you very much for the wishes. And Dr. Amit Jagtap, you made my day by taking a lecture on growth and development, as it is also useful for me. Thank you very much.
Any time for you. Anytime.
Yes, sir. Yeah. We will wait for a minute. If there are any questions, then we will start with the question answer session. And if there are no queries, then we will conclude. Just wait for 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah. Sure.
And the opening is there. The question from Dr. Manali Bhalerao. Sir, what is formula milk? Is it really important? Please provide your opinion on the same.
What is formula milk?
Yeah, what is formula milk? Is it really important? And please give your opinion on the same.
Formula milk, in my personal practice, I do not recommend that much. And to be very honest, I mean, gynecologists are very much responsible for this. If a gynecologist is good, if the gynecologist is very thoughtful, then he or she will always pursue that female to lactate. But then there are certain conditions where natural lactation is not possible. At that time only formula milk can be given to the child. Otherwise, formula milk is not going to be a replacement. So I do not recommend in my personal practice.
Thank you. And next question is from Dr. Parveen Tadvi. Kindly comment on Balguti important. Kindly comment on Balguti important of it. Also comment on gripe water.
Gripe water, I'll come back to that. Balguti, yes, Balguti is very important, but at Balguti, the kind of the one which we get in the market, I strongly I strongly deny that. I mean, you just can't have all 18 or 20 herbs at one time. So I mean, if there is no need, why to give Kutaji to the child? और if the child is passing stool आराम से मस्त दे रहा है तो क्यों उसको कुटच देने का? And if child is not having any trouble, why to give just a mother to the child? So it is like, see, there are very simple things which are prescribed in in Kashyap Samhita. So there are few rasayana things that can be given on a daily basis, and otherwise you can give Kashtaushadhi to the child, to the parents, and then you can write down if child is suffering from such and such ailment, you can give, you can make a combination of 2 or 3 herbs and you can give. If the child is having cough and cold, then and then the people is important, or in combination with just is important. But then every day giving child people, every day child giving, you are giving just every day if you are giving kutaja, every day if you are going beda, it is not important. It is not at all necessary. Ultimately, it is all medicine. So you can go for you can go for badam, you can go for akhroad, you can give ashwagandha on daily basis. You can give sariva for that matter on a daily basis. But all other medicines are not at all important on a daily basis. Yes, when it is indicated, you can always give. So that is all about Balguti. And the other part of the question was of gripe water. Again, the same gripe water. I really don't know. I don't know where that thought has come to gripe water. Then I don't know. But it is not at all necessary. So firstly, the water is not at all necessary for the child if the child is if the mother is lactating well and if the child is uh, getting the feed properly. The extra amount of water is not at all necessary. So why to give? Forget gripe water. Even water is not necessary. So I don't recommend.
Yes, rightly said. And next question is from Dr. Sumita Vidyavar. And the question is, hello sir, लहान मुलं गोड जास्त खातात तेव्हा कफाचा काळ असतो तर कृमी होऊ नये म्हणून कृमिकना किती दिवस द्यावे?
पहिली गोष्ट गोड देऊ नका, है ना?
Yes.
So इथे here the parenting comes in play. आणि if you want your child to follow certain rules, you don't commit the same mistakes. नाहीतर घरी वडील तिकडे बसले चॉकलेट खात आणि मुलाला सांगतात तर तसं होणार नाही, है ना? तर पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे तुम्हाला ज्या क्वालिटीज मुलामध्ये इन्कल्केट करायच्या ते स्वतःमध्ये इन्कल्केट करा. आणि येस, there are so many ways to say no to the child. Instead of saying directly no, you can always educate the child. And असं समजू नका की लहान मुलांना काही कळत नाही. अगदी लहान किती 1.5-2 वर्षाचा 1 वर्षाचा असला तरी त्याला सगळ्या गोष्टी कळतात. त्याला एकदा दोनदा तीनदा सांगा. आणि there is always a difference between becoming mother and father and becoming a parent. So आई वडील होणं बायोलॉजी आहे, पालक होणं रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आहे. सो थोडंसं रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीने आपण जर का मुलांना सांगितलं, नकार दिला, तर हा अनवस्था प्रसंग येतच नाही. हा पहिला भाग. आणि कफाचा काळ आहे डेफिनेटली. आणि त्या दृष्टिकोनातनच आपल्याकडे पण जे सांगितलेलं आहे की तुम्ही जर काश्यपामध्ये वाचलं तर काश्यपाच्या प्रत्येक अध्यायामध्ये किंवा त्याच्या प्रत्येक फॉर्म्युलेशन्स मध्ये लहान मुलांना जे द्यायला सांगितलंय त्याच्यामध्ये विडंगाच्या पाण्याचा किंवा त्रिकटूचा हा वापर करायला सांगितलाय. तो विडंगाचा तर काही मला सांगायची गरज नाही का सांगितलं असेल ते, पण त्रिकटूचा तर निश्चित त्याच्यामुळे धात्वग्नी वाढतं, जाठराग्नी वाढतो आणि त्याचा निश्चित परिणाम होतो. पण मी म्हटलं ना तसं की आत्ताचे असणारे मधुर पदार्थ ज्यांना आपण मधुर म्हणतो ते मधुर आपण फक्त रसांमुळे म्हणतो. त्याचा विपाकाला आपण मधुर म्हणत नाही. चॉकलेटचा विपाक खरोखर मधुर होतो का? हा म्हणजे संशोधनाचा विषय झाला. तो आपण फक्त रसात्मक मधुर रसाला म्हणतो की जे मधुर पूर्वीच्या काळी जे होतं ते मधुर रस आणि मधुर विपाक अशा दोन्ही ह्यानी म्हणायचे ते. सो आता जे आपण मधुर रस चवीला म्हणतो तर मधुर रसाचे पदार्थ विपाकी हे आम्ल विपाकी होतात. मग त्यात चॉकलेट असतील, त्याच्यात म्हणजे चोकोचे सगळे पदार्थ. तर कृपया ते देण्याचं टाळावं, नाहीतर मुलांना पोटाचे त्रास हे हमखास होणार निश्चित.
Yes, sir. The next question is from Dr. Archana Ahir Rao. And the question is, at the 4th month of age, what laxative should be given to baby if necessary?
लॅक्झेटिव्ह ऍट एनी एज प्रॉबेबली फॉर चिल्ड्रन. 1 वर्षांपर्यंतच्या मुलांना माझ्या वैयक्तिक ह्याच्यामध्ये पण घृत म्हणजे नुसतं दूध आणि तूप हे एकत्र करून देणं ह्याने देखील खूप छान परिणाम होतो. नाहीतर मग सुकुमार घृत नावाचं एक फॉर्म्युलेशन आहे, ते देखील लहान मुलांना फार चांगलं लागू पडतं. पण मी पाहिलेलं आहे की मुलांना जर एरंडेल तेलाचा वापर केला तर कदाचित त्यांना गुददाह होण्याची शक्यता असते. तर एरंडेल तेल तर मुळातच कधी वापरू नये. हरडा वापरायला हरकत नाही, पण मग तो बाळ हरडा वापरावा. आणि 4 महिन्यांच्या मुलाला वापरायचा असेल तर तो अर्थात गुटी या स्वरूपामध्ये आपण वापरतो. मग त्याच्यामध्ये आईच्या दुधात जमलं तर अतिशय उत्तम. त्यांनी त्रास होण्याचे चान्सेस फार कमी असतात. नाहीतर मग गोदुग्धातनं द्यावं, त्याच्यात थोडंसं तूप घालावं आणि मग द्यावं.
Next question is from Dr. Poonam Saini. Nowadays,
Mhm.
pediatrician asked not to give cow milk till 1 year, but in olden days, kids were given this cow milk. So, what you suggest? Is it safe to give cow milk before 1 year?
If mother's milk is available, why to go for cow's milk? And that is the first thing. And then secondly, yes, today's pediatrician will tell you so many things not to do. I don't know. उसने तो मतलब उसने तो उसके माँ बाप ने तो वही करा के उसको बड़ा किया था. बच्चा अभी अब तो बड़ा होकर डॉक्टर बन गया है. लेकिन वो बहुत सारे बोलते हैं कान में ये मत डालो, वो मत करो. There are so many things which they say no to do. But then with yes, certain logical things. If you just go back to when we were kids, rather I don't know how old you are, but then when we were kids, ये बहुत कम सुना था कि दूध में इतना adulteration होता है. So maximum level of adulteration was adding water to the milk. So nowadays, I mean, the adulteration level has gone up so much. So it is really advisable. That is the reason, even government always preaches you. Mother's milk is always going to the best thing. So mother's milk में stick करना अच्छा है. और cow milk देना है तो there are certain things. I mean, it's a very logical thing. If you just see to it that from where you're procuring the milk is of good quality, a standard and hygiene is maintained while pouring the milk, while boiling the milk. In every stage, if the hygiene is maintained, I don't see any reason why you should not give. Yeah, you can make it little dilute. You can add some vidang to it, and you can give them. No issues.
The advice may be because of the increased level of estrogen in the milk.
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand.
Then the
But then I
next
mean,
question
अब
is,
कहाँ
yeah.
तक जाओगे
Yes,
फिर? तो at
yes, of course. So next question is from Dr. Pooja Mishra. If any developmental skill lacks, what treatment to initiate in Ayurveda?
I mean, so it depends upon so many factors. So firstly, age and which developmental milestone is missing or it is getting delayed. So definitely that will that will determine the treatment. But then overall, what I always suggest is एक concept है कि हम लोग हमेशा बोलते हैं कि ये ना this is the period where the kapha is in dominance. But then when you see there is a lot of cell division happening inside the body when the child is growing. Then a lot of organ developments are happening. So in Ayurveda there is a division. कौन करता है ना वात करता है. No, the cell division happens with the initiation of vata. So ये तो वायु तंत्र यंत्र धरा. तो ये तो वात का डोमिनेशन होना चाहिए. तो कफ का कैसे है ना. तो ये हम लोग बहुत सवाल पूछते थे when I was doing my PG. तो आंसर ऐसा है कि इट इज इसके लिए ही कफ का काल जो है या कफ डोमिनेंस में रखा है क्योंकि इट इज गोइंग टू बैलेंस द एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी जो एक्शंस चालू है वात के उसको वो बैलेंस करने के लिए वहां पे कफ रखा है. अगर डिलेड माइलस्टोन्स है सो उसका मतलब ये है कि बच्चे में पुश जो है वात की गति जो है वो कहीं ना कहीं अवरोध है वहां पे कुंठित है. तो आपको अगर वो अवरोध दूर करना है वो अगर उसको नॉर्मलाइजेशन करना है सो आपको विल हैव टू थिंक ऑन द लाइंस कि वहां पे कफ का विलयन करना है छेदन करना है और वात को नॉर्मलाइजेशन में लाना है. तो इफ यू गो टू डाउन साउथ इन एनी केस आप कोई भी पीडियाट्रिक की केस लेके जाओ ADHD के लेके जाओ आप डिलेड माइलस्टोन्स के लेके जाओ दे जनरली स्टार्ट विद रुक्षण थेरेपी. So they start with the Rukshana therapy, वो dry massage कराते हैं या फिर उद्वर्तन जिसको बोलते हैं उद्वर्तन करते हैं, and after that, after doing उद्वर्तन of for 4 to 7 days, they start with other therapies. वो तो मतलब वो PG chill रहेगा, जो भी रहेगा, पोटली रहेगी. But then Rukshana is very important in rather it is going to be the first step वो कफ का विलयन करने के लिए. So that is what in my practice also I follow the same thing.
Now the next question is Suvarna Prashan, how much is effective for immunity? I will say that you must stick to the topic, because we will take such topics in the next lectures also. So this lecture is today on only on the growth and development, and we have multiple questions. So I will skip this question and I will turn to the next question. That is Dr. Lakshmi Pathak. Sir, nowadays we have seen many babies showing early developmental signs like sleeping on sides, trying to hold neck in few weeks after birth, responding to sounds before the mentioned age, and many more. Is this normal or maybe considered as fast growing kid?
No, no, no. This is nothing. I mean, this is like I said. I mean, this is human evolution. What we are watching, and yes, uh, see, there is one theory. There is always going to be, if you your brain, rather your head size, and your mouth, this oral cavity, it is inversely proportional. You know that. So if you have a bigger brain, your oral cavity is it it shrinks. So in Alien का जो फिल्म दिखाते हैं, तो उसमें हमेशा दिखाते हैं वो एलियन का सर इतना बड़ा दिखाता है, मुंह इतना छोटा दिखाता है. So तो एलियंस में भी आप देख सकते हो, मतलब मूवीज में, नॉट एग्जैक्टली, और ये इन एनिमल किंगडम ऑल्सो. Just look at the size of the brain and the mouth. So if you go by the same theory, nowadays people don't get their wisdom tooth. अभी उसका साइज ही कम हो गया, तो you always find the people getting impacted wisdom tooth. So if you go back 2-3 generations, तो लोगों को विजडम तो आराम से आता था, साइज में कुछ तकलीफ नहीं होती. तो nowadays if you talk to any dental surgeon, he will tell you कि बहुत सारे impacted wisdom tooth के patients आ रहे हैं. So yes, definitely we are still evolving, and evolution is an non-ending process. So in this evolution, we are gaining more, and I mean our brain is gaining at a bigger and bigger size. At the same time, our mouth is getting sort of shrink हो रहा है. So there is a great chance that yes, after 4 or 5 generations, these kids will attain their developmental milestones quite earlier. That is the one thing. And the second thing is, nowadays parents have become बहुत ज़्यादा cautious हो गए. So very small thing also they report, that they take a note of it. So 2-3 generations back, आपको पता भी नहीं होता था बच्चे का नाम क्या है. तो उसको ही पूछता था तेरा नाम क्या है. So he was कहाँ इतना ध्यान देते थे कि कहाँ माइलस्टोन आया नहीं है. So the two things, yes, there is a good amount of chance that our evolution process has increased, and secondly, as a parent, we have become more vigilant, and more we keep minutely studying our children. So these two things are attached to this.
Yes, and next question is very interesting question. लहान मुले अडकळत बोलतात like हकला नाही in Hindi. So there is stammering in small kids when some children are excited or some children in fear, or maybe in specific situation. It is a stage in growth and development. Whether it is a stage in growth and development, that is the question.
Yes, sir. It is not a developmental stage for that matter per se. If the child does it very very rarely, then you can't term it as stuttering or some problem. But yes, if the child keeps on doing it, then it is a problem at a very early stage of detection. Why? Because I mean, generally stuttering starts between the age of 2 to 5 years, and there could be reasons attached to it. There could be spasms of lingual and palatal muscles, or there is a very fair chance of child is having emotional stress. So it is a manifestation of behavioral problems in child. So if the child is suffering from any behavioral disorder, any behavioral problem, or if the child has undergone some kind of trauma at a very early stage, the child more likely fall a victim of stuttering. So you need to evaluate the case very carefully. So like I said, if the child has started showing the signs of stuttering very oftenly between the age of 2 to 5 years, there is a great amount of chance that the child has some amount of problem, either with the anatomical problem or the psychological problem.
Yeah, and the next question you must answer, as it is from Dr. Namrata Patil, my dear wife. So, sir, in breath holding is normal. What are the causes of breath holding, tantrums, and would you suggest any treatment if required in Ayurveda? And whether it is related to growth
See, it
and
is
development?
no, I don't think so. See, I'll tell you, it is a altogether a different topic. I always give lecture on that topic itself. It's a manifest. It is related about behavioral disorders in children. So behavioral disorders in children are very complicated and very difficult to ascertain and very difficult to understand. So this is again this could be a manifestation of behavioral problems in children. And then ऐसा नहीं है कि चाइल्ड को हर बार इमोशनल कुछ ट्रॉमा अपने को दिखाई दे और तो ही चाइल्ड डेवलप करे. But yes, there has to be some emotional reason behind this, because I have seen so many cases of head banging, rocking in bed, even that thumb sucking, nail biting. At the same time, this breath holding sessions, they do have some emotional distress का factor. कहीं ना कहीं तो वो होता ही है. So you, as a parent or as a physician, you need to address that issue very quickly.
Okay, and okay, yeah. Next question is from Dr. Amrita Jaiswal. Initially, infants are unable to suck properly. So, use of breast pump, is it recommended? What you will suggest?
It's the question is from your side.
Yes, sir. This
I
question is
understand.
not from my side. This question is from Dr. Amrita Jaiswal.
Okay. I mean, gynecologists can understand and they can answer it better way. But then, yes, of course, I mean, if the mother is having a sunken breast or no, the nipples are sunken, then there is a problem, then anatomical problem. So breast pump and that is an alternative. But then generally, even if the mother is using breast pump, you can always encourage the mother to breastfeed the child. So breastfeeding has a emotional linkage तो उसको तो हमेशा encourage करना ही चाहिए.
Yes, and
So that is the best I can.
proper breastfeeding training should be given to the mother.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing. And
Yes.
there are certain questions. Some questions are from. It is not related to today's subject. If you permit, I can take the question, sir.
Or can we do that? I mean, can we take the questions and can I answer afterwards? Because
Yeah, sure.
to Ganpati आए थे यार.
Why not? Because we always instruct the delegates to post the questions related to the topic only, and if needed, we will take the series, and that series will be captained by Dr. Amit Jagtap if he is ready to do that. And I will invite him for the next series of the 4 or 5 lectures on pediatrics in Ayurveda, and that is my wholehearted request to Dr. Amit. And thank you very much, Dr. Amit sir, and over to you, Dr. Amit Chavan. And one more thing, I want to announce it that in next few days, upcoming 10 days, we are coming up with the certain few lectures. The lecture on Aushadhikaran and its practice, and on cosmetology also, and one lecture on the surgery. So surgical practices in OPD. That will be the free lectures, and we will start with the some other series in a few days. So over to you, Dr. Amit Chavan, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Amit Jagtap, sir, for such a wonderful session. on growth and development in pediatrics,
Thank you.
answering the queries of the delegates. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Also, we are coming with another lecture on Aushadhi Nirman, Avlehe Kalpana on 23rd of August by Dr. Ashish Punde, sir, at 3 p.m. So I declare here that today's session is over and you can leave the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mangesh. Thank you, Dr. Mangesh.